Recording. All right. Well, hello everyone, and welcome to the first of our 2025-2026 Lind open houses. It feels really weird to talk about the 2025-2026 academic year, but that is right around the corner. So we're happy that you were able to join us today. As I mentioned just a second ago, this session is being recorded for those of us who are not able to join. And if you're someone who's on the call tonight who would like a copy of the recording, we are more than happy to share that after our discussion today as well. So let's go ahead and get started. All right, so a couple of brief introductions just to start us off here. Our Kentucky Lind leadership team consists of several individuals. I've got another slide in just a second that includes all of our Kentucky Lind faculty members. But I'd like to introduce myself briefly. My name is Dr. Rachel Womack. I am the HDI Training and Lind Director at the University of Kentucky. My background is in social work. My pronouns are she, her, and hers. And a brief visual description, I am a white woman in my 30s with long, straight brown hair. Today I'm wearing a black shirt and glasses, and I have a blue HDI background behind me. So I teach in our Lind program, and I also provide administrative oversight for our Lind. I'm joined tonight by Dr. Walt Bauer. And Dr. Bauer, would you like to introduce yourself briefly?
Thank you, Dr. Womack. My name is Dr. Walt Bauer. I'm the pre-service training coordinator at the Human Development Institute. My pronouns are he, him, his. My brief visual description is I am a white male wearing glasses with hazel eyes and a blue and white collared shirt. My virtual background is a 3-story brick building that has offices for the Human Development Institute on the University of Kentucky campus. I'm involved with teaching courses and assisting with the practicum placements. Welcome to all who have joined us today, and I'm glad to be here.
All right. Thank you, Dr. Bauer. Dr. Kathy Shepard-Jones is also a part of our Lind leadership team. She's not on tonight. She is a researcher at HDI and is also the former executive director at the Human Development Institute. We also have several Lind faculty. So as I'll discuss more in just a moment, we are a partnership between the University of Kentucky, Eastern Kentucky University, and the University of Louisville. This is a listing of all of the faculty who are involved in our Lind project. So we do have faculty across disciplines, including our self-advocate faculty member and our family faculty member who both work for us here at HDI. And then several other faculty who are based in different departments at UK, including the College of Education, UK Healthcare, and UK College of Health Sciences, alongside our EKU faculty and our U of L faculty. And I know that we actually have several of those faculty here with us tonight. And so I'm wondering if you all might be willing to introduce yourselves just briefly.
Sure, I'd be happy to.
Thank you.
I'm Dr. Stephanie Meredith, and I am the Lind Family Faculty, which is a really fun position in that I get to share my perspective as the mom of a 24-year-old Down syndrome, and also as a professional who works in the field. I do a lot of work in healthcare for disability health equity, and it's honestly, the Lind program, I've been involved in this one and also in Georgia where I live, and they are just, you meet the absolute best people. So I love what I get to do.
Thank you, Dr. Meredith. And Dr. Bundy, you're next on my screen. Do you mind introducing yourself?
Hi, everybody. I'm Myra Bundy. I guess I'm representing EKU on this grant. I'm also a psychologist and a board certified behavior analyst. I've been working, lucky enough to work in the area of developmental disabilities and with people on the autism spectrum for many, many years, both in research, clinical work, teaching, and I also have a brother-in-law who is on the autism spectrum. I love working with Lind students for these autism clinics for children that I do with the Office for Children with Special Healthcare Needs. I'm doing a parent consultation group with a LEND trainee right now, and probably other things I'm forgetting. I agree with Stephanie. It's my favorite part of my week every week. Ooh, and one more thing. My postdoc was a LEND postdoc at University of Colorado Health Sciences Center many years ago.
Thank you, Dr. Bundy. All right. Dr. Alt, do you mind introducing yourself?
Sure, I'd be happy to. I'm Melinda Alt, and I am in the College of Education at the University of Kentucky. I am the acting chair right now of the Department of Early Childhood, Special Education, and Counselor Education. I'm also a professor of special education. And the majority of my career has been focused on learners with low incidence disabilities and building evidence-based practices for teaching acquisition of new skills and new behaviors to them. I also have a secondary research interest in individuals with disabilities being able to access and participate in their places of worship to the extent that they want to do that. So very happy to be here.
Thank you, Dr. Alt. All right. And Angie, I see you've got your camera off. Are you in a spot to introduce yourself?
I can. I'll leave my camera off.
Okay.
I'm in a car. I'm not driving. I'm a passenger princess, and my daughter is driving, but I'll leave the camera off. My name is Angie, and I'm an occupational therapist, and I'm the therapy director for UK Pediatric Therapies at the Child Development Center of the Bluegrass. And I have a team of 15 OTPT and speech. That was the rumble strip. And we see pediatric patients here. My team also participates in the multidisciplinary autism assessment clinic, and they participate in the neuro clinic on Fridays with Dr. Tupin. And we're just a little bit all over. And then I also participate in the Echo Talk program with several people from HDI and across the College of Health Science.
All right. Thank you so much, Angie. We are also joined tonight by a current LEND trainee and a former LEND trainee. And Caleb, I'm wondering if you wouldn't mind introducing yourself.
Of course not. Hi, my name is Caleb Rader. I am one of the LEND trainees here. Hi, Dr. Bundy. I was a student of Dr. Bundy's. That's how we know each other. I'm very happy to be here. I am one of the self-advocates here. I have autism myself. And I have had the wonderful opportunity to be accepted into LEND, and I've also talked to Dr. Meredith here, and my words will catch up to me. It is an absolutely amazing opportunity to get to know a lot of these professors and seeing the multiple perspectives.
Thank you so much, Caleb. We're so happy to have you. John, are you able to introduce yourself?
Absolutely. And just hello to everyone. I guess I'm a pass student. I went through in 22 to 23, but wanted to sit in just for any of the folks that we might have that are interested in the program and interested in doing LEND. It was I'm a little bit of a non-traditional student, right? So I've been around a while. I'm in my late 50s now. But I certainly have had the chance to do a lot of things, and one of the most rewarding experiences I've had in my nearly 6 decades of living educationally was being part of the LEND program. It really opened up my horizons to understanding things, not just things that I didn't understand before, but to understand them in new ways and from different perspectives. And sometimes it's really interesting, when you talk about the kinds of things that fall under LEND, and I know there's a focus on autism, it was something that I was interested in doing for a next career, wasn't necessarily motivated by anything going on in my family. And, but it's become, autism is so prevalent in our society right now, no matter how you think about it, no matter what you think is the best path to engage people with autism, those kinds of things. And surprise, about 6 weeks ago, my brother's son was diagnosed with autism. So something that was of intellectual interest now also is of personal interest because of that. But just recommendation to anybody considering Lend. If we've got a few of those people, it was a phenomenal program and tremendously rewarding, and rewarding in ways that I didn't even expect at the time that I entered into it. So glad to be here.
Thank you so much, John. And again, John and Caleb, thank you for joining us and sharing your perspectives today. I see that we also have 5 folks on the call who I believe are likely here to learn about our Lend program. I certainly don't want to put anyone on the spot, but because we have a smaller group, I would love to know who we have in the room with us. So if I call on you and you don't want to share or you're not in a place where you're able to unmute, that is okay. You are welcome to pass. But why don't we start with Haley, if you don't mind, Haley, introducing yourself and telling us, are you here as a student, as a staff member? Tell us a little bit about why you've joined our call today.
Yeah. Hi, everyone. Thanks for introducing yourself. I'm Haley. I use she, her pronouns. And I'm here as a prospective student for next year. I'm Dr. Bundy's student at EKU. And I've had the opportunity to work in her ocean clinics with her and have really great mentorship. And also, I've had the opportunity to have really great mentorship from Dr. Toomey. So this year, I'm doing my prac at UK Developmental Pediatrics and doing assessment and therapy with kids with neurodevelopmental disabilities. So this is definitely my passion. And I really like what John said, where he talked about how an intellectual curiosity became personal, because this year, actually, 2 of my cousins have been diagnosed with autism. So I'm very involved in their life, and it's really been fun to, apply an interest in my career and in my family as well.
Fantastic, Haley. You are ahead of the game. You're already working with Dr. Bundy and Dr. Toomey. That's incredible. So certainly it sounds like the Lend may be a fit for your interests, and we're excited to have you here. It's nice to meet you.
Thank you. It's nice to meet you all.
Emerson, I know Dr. Bauer and I have met you, but a few of our other faculty on the call have not. Do you mind introducing yourself?
For sure. I apologize. My camera's having issues, so I'm going to keep that off. But
No worries.
my name's Emerson. I am a current undergraduate student at UK. I'm majoring in psychology and interdisciplinary disability studies. And I'm in the process of looking at grad schools, considering UK's Master's of Social Work. And if I do that, I would love to be a part of the Lend program. So I'm just here to learn a little bit more about it, and just hear from all of you guys and what your experience has been like. So that's a little bit about me.
Thank you, Emerson. And we certainly applaud your dedication to attending all of these open houses. I know you are in our certificate open house too. So it's good to see you again, and we're happy you're here.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Right. And I apologize, I'm not sure if it's Alana or Elena. Would you like to introduce yourself? And that is okay. If not, we'll come back to you if you decide that you'd like to, or if you get into a spot where you're able to unmute. You're also welcome to introduce yourself in the chat if you'd like to. What about Rachel? Rachel Duro.
Hi, my name's Rachel Darrow. So trying to think what to say exactly. My pronouns are she, her. I am 46 and was just diagnosed with ADHD in January. So if you're probably familiar, but that's a combination of autism and ADHD. And my daughter, who is 17, was also diagnosed in January. So we're still fairly new in our processing of all that. But I've wanted for a long time to kind of like shift gears into doing like kind of a different career path that had to do more with possibly something therapeutic, possibly something with research. And I'm just in a big process right now where I actually got connected with Retain, that's part of HDI, in June. And John was actually the first person I talked to on the phone about that. And my peer mentor was Jason, and now actually I just started as a peer mentor myself. And I'm just like getting these emails about all these interesting things from HDI and trying to make time as I can. Like I'm only doing peer mentoring very part-time and hoping to transition out of my current work into more of that and maybe some other things. And just sounded like a really interesting opportunity to kind of like streamline all these things in my life, learn about what's out there and make some connections and deepen my learning. So I'm interested to learn more. Thanks.
Thank you, Rachel. It's nice to meet you, and welcome to HDI. I know we're certainly happy to have you here and to have your interest. It sounds like both as a self-advocate and as a family member. So again, something that we value in the Lind, and we'll talk a little bit more, but we do welcome our self-advocate and our family member trainees in addition to our graduate students. So thank you, Rachel. Nice to meet you. All right. And Darian, I know you joined just a minute ago. You may have kind of missed it. We're just going around giving brief introductions and telling a little bit about why you're here on our Lind call tonight, if you don't mind.
Yeah, of course. I am in the social work major, and I do have an interest in neurodevelopmental disabilities, just like disability justice and advocacy in general. I just recently stumbled upon the Human Development Institute, and I'm just interested in what y'all have to say.
Excellent. Well, I personally am always happy to have social work students and social workers in the room, so I'm excited to hear of your interest, Darian, and it's a pleasure to meet you.
Thank you. You as well.
I see we have just had another former Lind trainee join the call. Hello.
Hey, how are you?
Doing well. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. I just got home, so I wanted to jump on, and if I can be of any help or assistance, just let me know.
Well, you're just in time to introduce yourself, if you don't mind.
Perfect. My name is Andrea Stendel. I am privileged to say that I attended Lind. I am, I think Dr. Gooding called it a Lind Fellow, and it was the most amazing experience ever. And I'm very thankful that I got a chance to do that. So I just completed my master's degree in occupational therapy at EKU, and I am studying for my national board certification. And what else can I say? I'm doing my post-professional doctorate starting in January, so that's exciting too. But I do plan on, Lind has already been very useful so far in all of my rotations that I had for the master's degree. And I'm looking to different positions, opportunities, I should say it that way, working with children who are neurodiverse. So I'm excited. I'll be able to use everything that I learned.
Happy to hear that, Andrea, and thank you so much for being here. It's good to see you.
It's good to see you too.
All right. So we've got a chat. That is totally fine that you're unable to mute Alana. And she has said, I'm so sorry, I can't unmute currently. My name is Alana Anthony. I'm a BASW student in the University Scholars Program, interested in learning about Lind. Well, we have social work well represented tonight. That is exciting. All right, so let's go ahead and get into the meat of our discussion. So what is the Kentucky Lind? Well, it sounds like most of us are fairly familiar with the program, but just in case this is brand new to you or for anyone watching the recording, Lind stands for Leadership, Education, and Neurodevelopmental and Other Disabilities. Again, it's a partnership between the University of Kentucky, Eastern Kentucky University, and the University of Louisville. We are housed at the University of Kentucky Human Development Institute, but we've got Dr. Bundy at EKU. We also have 2 faculty members at the U of L, so we span those 3 universities. All Lind programs operate within a university system, and they are usually part of what's called a University Center for Excellence in Developmental Disability, or a UCED. So the Human Development Institute is Kentucky's UCED. And sometimes Lind programs will also collaborate with university hospitals and other healthcare centers. We do have that collaborative partnership, both with the medical centers at the University of Kentucky and the University of Louisville. There are 60 Lind programs across the nation. So all LENs share the mission of improving the health of infants, children, and adolescents with neurodevelopmental and related disabilities, including autism, but not limited to autism. We do certainly talk about Down syndrome and a variety of other developmental disabilities and related diagnoses as well. A major focus of our program is to increase the number of professionals with the knowledge and skills needed to provide evidence-based screening, diagnosis, and support of developmental disabilities, including autism and others. So our purpose here in Kentucky is to provide training for students and providers, as well as disabled self-advocates and family members of individuals with disabilities. We offer that training at 3 levels of intensity. What we're talking about on our call here tonight is what we refer to as being a long-term LEND trainee. So you'll hear us use the word trainee. That's because this program is not just limited to students. Again, we do include those self-advocates with disabilities and family members as well. So we use the term trainee because it's a little more inclusive than just student. But here we're talking about our long-term trainees. If you, after hearing this presentation and obtaining any other information that you need about the LEND, decide that our long-term training programs are not for you, we do also have what we call medium-term and short-term training opportunities. Those medium-term opportunities include things like completing a practicum with the Human Development Institute or participating in one of our certificate programs. We held an open house last week on those certificate programs. So if you were interested and you missed out, feel free to leave your email address in the chat, and I'm happy to send you a recording of last week's open house as well. But again, what we're referring to here is our long-term LEND program. We talked about this, but graduate students from the University of Kentucky, the University of Louisville, and Eastern Kentucky University are encouraged to apply. There are several LEND disciplines. So we often have trainees from psychology, physical therapy, occupational therapy, developmental pediatrics, speech language pathology, special education, social work, music therapy. But other related disciplines are encouraged to apply. So if you are in a discipline where you will be serving people with neurodevelopmental disabilities, you are welcome to apply to the LEND program. It is not limited to the disciplines that are listed on the screen. We also enthusiastically welcome self-advocates with an intellectual or developmental disability. Again, that can be autism, but it does not have to be. Any intellectual or developmental disability will qualify. And we welcome the family members of those with intellectual or developmental disabilities to apply as well. If you are applying as a self-advocate and or a family member, I realize some people fall into multiple categories, you don't need to be actively enrolled in one of those graduate programs that I mentioned to apply. Right, so a little bit about the expectations for participation in the LEND. We ask that our trainees commit to an intensive but rewarding experience of at least 300 training hours during the 2025-2026, I need to update the slide, academic year. So that's 10 hours per week of training, in addition to the weekly class time. So all of our LEND trainees meet with us on Fridays from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. Eastern Time for the LEND classes. There are 2 LEND classes each semester, and we operate on the University of Kentucky academic calendar. So you would start in the fall of 2025. You would take 2 classes during that fall semester, and then you would take 2 classes in the spring semester, finishing your program in May of 2026. Those classes are offered in person at the Mineral Industries building on the University of Kentucky campus. We're located kind of over behind the law school. However, for our trainees who live outside of Fayette County or who have a documented accommodation need, we will allow them to Zoom in and to join our classes virtually, but still synchronously during that 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. window. We also require that our trainees participate in our academic journal club that will be incorporated inside of that 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. window starting next year. We also require that our trainees meet monthly with an assigned faculty mentor. Typically, that's going to be a mentor from your discipline of study, or if you are a family member trainee or a self-advocate trainee, we will often match you with our family faculty, our self-advocacy faculty member. All right, so as I mentioned, there is a practicum component associated with the LEND. Dr. Bauer, I'm wondering if you would like to start with this slide or if you'd prefer that I cover this one and you start with the placement options.
I'd be happy to start with this slide, Dr. Womack.
Thank you.
The practicum courses enable students to demonstrate the ability to work with individuals with neurodevelopmental disabilities and their families in a positive and supportive manner in leadership, assessment, and intervention settings. In addition to the practicum and clinical hours, we have our LEND faculty members provide case studies that allow students to practice the skills needed to function successfully as a member of an interdisciplinary team. As that first point on the slide says, spend an average of 10 hours per week in leadership, clinical, and field experiences in addition to class time. So that would be 10 hours at 15 weeks. That is a total of 150 hours in that fall semester. Practicum or internship hours from your study discipline, from your degree discipline, may be counted in some cases. And practicums are customized to the student. I want to go ahead and highlight, just three of our exciting practicum opportunities. This first is the Child Development Center of the Bluegrass. This practicum opportunity is located on Alumni Drive. The Child Development Center of the Bluegrass is on the University of Kentucky campus between Tates Creek Drive and Nicholasville Road. It is a child care center offering a full day program for children with and without disabilities from 6 weeks of age until preschool. They have a universally designed and inclusive playground just outside the building. They also have therapy sessions in the therapy gym as you walk through the building to the classrooms. This next practicum opportunity is referred to as the MAC. The MAC Clinic is the University of Kentucky's Healthcare's Autism Assessment Center for Families in Lexington and across Southeast Kentucky. The MAC Clinic includes occupational therapists and speech therapists from UK Pediatrics at the Child Development Center of the Bluegrass, along with medical providers from UK's Division of Developmental Pediatrics. Dr. Marissa Toomey, one of our LEND faculty, is one of those pediatricians, and Angie Volchek is also one of our LEND faculty, also involved with the MAC Clinic as well. This next practicum opportunity is the Norton Children's Autism Center. The Norton Children's Autism Center is committed to supporting children diagnosed with ASD and their families. They have a multidisciplinary team available to provide family-centered care that's unique to each child and meets them where they are on their autism journey. The Norton Children's Autism Center offers a full range of health, educational, and behavioral services. They provide testing and multidisciplinary treatment for children and teens with autism spectrum disorder, and they have a multidisciplinary team of providers. They are located in Louisville. Dr. Greg Barnes, one of our LEND faculty, is the executive director of the Norton Children's Autism Center. They also, Dr. Grace Kervackle is the clinical director of Norton Children's Autism Center. To wrap up, these are just a few of the practicum opportunities our students and trainees are placed in. The practicum opportunities and clinical sites are one of the best learning opportunities for our students.
Thank you, Dr. Bauer. And I would just echo really what Dr. Bauer mentioned in saying that these practicum experiences are very much curated to the individual trainee and to that trainee's interests. So I do want to let folks know who are listening and might be thinking, oh gosh, I'm not as interested in the clinical area. We do also have practicum opportunities that are focused on everything from policy to advocacy to research to things like therapeutic recreation. So we truly have a long list of approved practicum placements and opportunities, and we are always adding to that list. And the benefit is that many of these are offered in an interdisciplinary setting, which is something that's so special to the lens. So we like to ensure that our trainees are having really a wide array of opportunities to engage with people with disabilities in these interdisciplinary settings. So thank you very much for covering that material, Dr. Bauer. I see I've got a chat. And John has said yes to echo Walt. The wealth of practicum opportunities available is a profound strength of the LEND program. I would absolutely agree with that. All right. So what does the application process for the LEND look like? We require that all of our, well, let me back up. Our graduate student trainees submit a resume or a CV along with their transcripts. Those can be official or unofficial. Those are not required for family members or self-advocate applicants. So transcripts are only going to be required for our current graduate students. Everyone will submit 2 letters of reference. Everyone will also submit a 1 to 2 page personal statement, including your experience with children with disabilities and their families, what leadership means to you, and what you hope to gain from the LEND experience. Our application is housed online. Our Kentucky LEND website is based within the HDI website, and the application link can be found there. However, we have not started accepting applications. I'll come back to this slide. We have not started accepting applications yet for the 2025-2026 academic year. We will open those applications sometime in early spring. When we do that, we will be sending out announcements. We'll have a spring open house too. So even if you're present at this open house and you think of additional questions or something like that, you're welcome to join us again. But we will make sure that that information is shared widely when our application is opened. We will also be announcing that on our social media and on our website directly. The deadline to apply this year will be March 7th of 2025. And then we will begin interviews with our LEND candidates, our LEND applicants. We plan to finish those interviews sometime the first couple weeks of April, and to announce our 2025-2026 LEND Fellows in mid-April of 2025. So there's the application link. Again, it's not open just yet. We will open it in early spring. Okay, so I do want to highlight a few of the benefits for trainees. In addition to some of the things that have already been mentioned, our LEND trainees really do have the opportunity to learn from experts across Kentucky and across the nation. Our classes don't operate in the traditional class format that you may be used to. We often host guest speakers who are really experts in their area of practice. And as Dr. Bauer mentioned, our practicum classes include case studies that are also provided by our LEND faculty and other experts in their various areas of practice. All of our LEND trainees have the opportunity to receive that personal mentoring from their Kentucky LEND faculty member, and all of our LEND trainees will meet regularly with our self-advocate faculty and our family member faculty, Dr. Stephanie Meredith, who's on the call tonight, for mentoring in that area as well. You'll have the opportunity to learn in a collaborative interdisciplinary setting. So again, that often looks quite different from the experiences that you would receive within your individual discipline. Our LEND trainees do receive a fellowship that helps offset the cost of education as well. So I believe the amount for the 2025-2026 academic year will be right around $9,000. When we open the application for that year, we will post the specific exact amount of that stipend, but it should be right around $9,000 for the academic year. And our LEND trainees become part of a national LEND network. So we often send trainees to really national level learning and leadership opportunities. For example, next week we have the Association of University Centers on Disability, or AUCD, conference happening in Washington, D.C. One LEND trainee will be attending with me this year, and we've had LEND trainees in attendance every other year of our program. We send LEND trainees to the Disability Policy Seminar, where they have the opportunity to interact with many other folks from other LEND programs, other USEDs, and other disability serving organizations. And our LEND trainees have access to other training, leadership, scholarship, research opportunities that are really unique to the national cohort of LEND trainees. All right. If you would like more information about our LEND program, that information can be found on our HDI website under our Kentucky LEND tab. You can also read more about our current and our former long-term LEND trainees on that website. You can learn more about the LEND National Network at aucd.org. Or you may choose to attend our second LEND Fall Open House, which will be held on November 19th at 4:30 p.m. Again, we will be holding a spring, probably 2 spring open houses as well. All right. I'm going to stop sharing my screen. Dr. Bauer, is there anything that you would add that you think I missed that our prospective trainees might like to know?
I do think Dr. Womack makes a great point about the LEND trainees here in Kentucky, the Kentucky LEND trainees being part of a larger network. Dr. Womack mentioned the Association of University Centers on Disability, their annual conference. We had a trainee last year, a LEND trainee last year, Bailey Hull from Eastern Kentucky University, attended and came back and said it was one of the best experiences she had. She thought it was so awesome because she met other LEND trainees from across the country who are going to be part of her professional network as during her professional career. So I just want to emphasize and great point Dr. Womack makes, that you are part of a larger network across the country, no matter which state you end up in.
Thank you, Dr. Bauer. Would any of our other LEND faculty like to add anything?
I guess I was just struck by how much each of the LEND trainees on the call have been able to contribute to my work. And I just wanted to share some of the things that they've done, because I think it's all so impressive. I had John, who helped me do data analysis on a research study that I did on diagnosis experiences when families found out about their child potentially having Down syndrome, and helped review the paper. We're still working on getting it published, and we've submitted it to a couple places, and we're working on getting that done. I had another student, though, where we published the qualitative results in Disability and Health Journal. So sometimes it could be that you end up being a co-author on a paper with one of us. I had Andrea, who translated some of our resources translated into German, and we're getting that up on our website right now. And then Caleb and I are talking now about a project that I did with National Council on Disability on heritable human genome editing and how he can help to promote that project and the potential impact on people with disabilities. And so there are some really, really cool things that we get to share with you, but we also get to benefit from you as LEND students and hopefully add to your professional vita so that you're even stronger going into your field. So
thank you, Dr. Meredith. All right. If there's nothing else that our other faculty would like to add, I'll open it up to any questions from any of our guests on the call tonight.
Yeah, I have a question.
Okay.
So I'm not quite sure if I understood this. I did understand that for like the people who aren't already enrolled as students, like that's fine. If you have personal experience or you're a family advocate, like that's fine. But are we actually enrolled, like when you're talking about the class hours on Friday and so forth, is that an actual like UK class that we're enrolling in for this? I wasn't quite following that.
Yeah, that's a great question, Rachel. So no, not necessarily. Most of our family member trainees, our self-advocate trainees, and our trainees who are from EKU and U of L are not going to enroll as University of Kentucky students. Now, I'm not going to say that you can't do that. And so if you choose to enroll as a UK student because you want formal credit on a University of Kentucky transcript for that coursework,
University of Kentucky email. And so that will allow you to be part of the Canvas course. So you would enroll, so you would be a student in the courses, in the Canvas courses, and you'd have, access to all the information that the other lens students would have. Does that help to answer your question, Rachel?
Yeah, so I just want to make sure. So I'm not currently enrolled in any school. I have, I'm autistic, my child's autistic. So you're saying that I would be enrolled in a UK course and get UK credit for the class if I was accepted for this program. Am I understanding that right?
You
No.
would not receive you would be in the University of Kentucky the UK course, but you
Okay.
would are you talking about as a family member? Joining as a family member?
Yes, and also someone who is autistic and who has an interest in going back to
Mm-hmm.
school, but I'm not enrolled in something yet. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm
You would not automatically receive credit. You would not automatically receive credit. I mean the students who are in degree seeking programs may be taking like 9 hours, and 9 hours would be a full-time course load at the University of Kentucky. So that 2 hour course, that HDI 600 would be a 2 hour course, and so would HDI 601 would be a 2 hour course. So they would sign up for 2 additional courses, so they would have now 13 credit hours in their course schedule. So they would be signing up for those courses if they were degree seeking students. So I mean, you could certainly sign up for the course and receive credit for the course.
okay. So, and then that would be a matter of paying for it, like a
Correct.
graduate student. Okay.
Exactly.
But
and
family member Lind trainees might not take the course. They may just be part of Lind without course credit. Well,
Correct. That can happen as well. That would be up to you, Rachel, which option you would like to choose.
yeah. So, and I apologize that I don't know what happened. I lost internet and my my Zoom kicked me out for a minute. So I'm sorry I got kicked off mid answer to your question, Rachel. But I think Dr. Bauer addressed it, and like he said, the answer is really it's up to you. So the way that our LIND program works, it is not a graduate certificate. And so our LIN trainees do not have to be enrolled at the University of Kentucky. So if you want formal class credit on a transcript, you may choose to enroll at UK if you are not a current UK student. If that is not an issue for you, you don't have to enroll. There's not an associated tuition cost. We just manually add you into our online learning management system so that you're able to access the courses. That is what our EKU trainees do and our U of L trainees. However, in many cases, we are able to communicate with their schools and they can get like independent study credit for these classes. I think that's what our current U of L trainee is doing. But if folks are not a current UK student, we do not mandate that you enroll at UK. So there's not a tuition cost to you unless you want these classes to show up on a transcript.
Correct.
That's a great question.
It is.
Any other questions? Okay. Well, anyone else have anything they'd like to add, whether it's our current trainee who's on the call or one of our former trainees? Anything else that you would like for our potential future Lynn trainees to know?
Thanks,
I
she's saying.
wait,
Caleb, anything you want to add?
Yeah, I can actually say that as one of the self advocates, I've had a wonderful experience. I've had a wonderful experience here. I really enjoyed a lot of the multidisciplinary aspect, like, and that, and as a self advocate, I really appreciate that they bring in multiple perspectives, such as like uh, I get to learn a lot about how disabilities is viewed through multiple lenses. And as a self advocate, I can learn, like, okay, like, so these are some things that are doing really great, or these are some things that we are currently working on. And we all have a very wonderful discussion on possible like improvements that could be made, and it's all like a really respectful discussion between all Lend cohort members. And that's what I really appreciated.
I think that's really well said, Caleb. I think the environment that
Rachel, but I know it was I think 360 hours is a minimum. When I went through it, and I know there were people that went above that. I went a little bit above that, but it was the experience of talking with others, seeing things with different perspectives, being exposed to the kinds of things that I did on the practicum that have really uh, as Andrea was saying, influenced me in so many other ways. It's influenced what I'm doing for my dissertation work and the research there. It's influenced the way I think about what I want to do for employment after I'm done with the dissertation. And those things are major life decisions. It's influenced things that will affect my life, at the age that I'm at for another year, another 20 years of a working life. So it's been very impactful in reshaping some of my decision making processes and the way I think about and understand the world.
Thank you. Thank you, John. Would any of our Len faculty like to add a few comments?
Sure. I'm always the first. I'll do it. I guess I just also wanted to jump in about too, like it really gives you the opportunity too to change your discipline in really meaningful ways because like I think about Andrea and I learned so much from her presentation on the the history of kind of ableism in occupational therapy and how to address that because there were things she touched on that I hadn't even thought of. And then as a parent, I was like, oh my gosh, yeah, the way some of those questions are worded when you're doing intake really do look at it from a deficit perspective. And I hadn't even kind of gone back to that because it's so long ago that we did those kinds of assessments for my son. But anyway, I thought what she did was really revolutionary in pulling that together and I think that it really does it makes a difference for your whole discipline when you come up with some of those training activities to bring some of those issues to the forefront that you learn. Yeah.
Thank you, Stephanie.
Right. Well, once again, I have returned for who knows how long. I appreciate everyone's patience with whatever my internet is doing tonight, and I certainly appreciate the input that our faculty as well as our current and former Lynn trainees have given. If there are no other questions, we I think are good to wrap up our call tonight. If you would like to receive a copy of the recording, if you'll drop your email address in the chat, we will get that sent over to you. And I hope that everyone has a wonderful night. I appreciate you being here and I appreciate your interest in the Kentucky Lend.
thank you.
Thank you so much, guys.
Thank you. Bye-bye, everybody.
Bye. Have a good
Thank
night.
everyone for your time.
Bye all.
Bye all.